Question two, does your role focus on IS or informatics system issues for only nurses, or do you work with other disciplines within a health system?
So, full disclosure, every organization that you work for, and it doesn't have to be healthcare, an informatics role can be in a business setting, anywhere. But, for the purpose of this conversation in a healthcare environment, whatever the setting may be, every organization has a different job description. So you really need to understand what the role is for an informatics nurse in the organization you work for. So for Penn State Health, there's the nursing informatics team that reports to the Hershey campus and is aligned with nursing and all other ancillary departments like non-providers. Okay. And I was part of that team for 6 years. And then the IT department, they call them now IS, Information Services. That's like the latest buzz. So the IS department was headed by a strong informatics leader who felt that the informatics role needed to be part of IS. So there were positions created and there was an opportunity to move to the IS side. Some call it the dark side. So myself and another nurse informaticist transitioned to that team, the end of 2019. So it's only been like a fresh year. And we are aligned with only providers on the Hershey campus.
Ooh, okay.
And then the other hospitals that are in the health system were then folded into this new IS department, wow, team of informatics. So there's now 17 of us.
Wow.
Because St. Joe Redding had an established group. So they were, folded into this newer group. So so we're truly under Penn State Health, but we are assigned to different campuses. So wow, the St. Joe Redding folks stay on campus there. Myself and my colleague transitioned, we stay at the Hershey campus. And, so there's some asynchronous things going on at that level as we try to divvy out the work. So when we have large projects that involve nursing and providers and social workers and respiratory therapy, we all kind of come together.
Wow.
So, and we cover each other's facilities as well when we have large projects that go live and things like that. So to get back to the main point, the informatics role is going to vary. And the industry standard isn't even set. Some informatics nurses do strictly clinical workflow, documentation and processes. Other informatics roles, they literally are in the IS department and they do the technical build. And they don't do any clinical interaction, but it's because they understand the clinical flow. And then there's other facilities where they do a mix of both. They can build things and they also meet with clinicians and work through, so you have to really understand the organization you're working for, what their goal is in regards to IS and informatics. And that's hard to explain even to people within the organization. We've been doing it for a year now, but the provider alignment that we have to optimize provider workflow is a year old. So you can imagine, Penn State Health, Hershey campus alone has thousands, 10,000 doctors. So it's been interesting, So we felt that it's important though. Nursing has a very defined structure for escalating issues, for disseminating communication, for making decisions. Penn State Health is a magnet facility. So, there's that shared governance model, like that's a very defined process. And then you get to the provider side and not so much. So we're working on that. But that's the part that in my role now, it's when we say providers, we're talking about doctors, we're talking about residents, we're talking about, so it's attendings, it's
God bless you.
division.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then it's nurse practitioners, PAs, CRNA,
Wow.
it's all of the advanced
Wow.
practice providers. So yeah, so it's been interesting trying to, and of course residents rotate through and all that stuff. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's the current role that I have. And again, when we're looking at standardizing things and the impact, upstream and downstream, we're looking at, something that nursing requests that providers need to be aware of. And if it impacts, the tech at the bedside, the CNA that's taking care of the patient as well, a respiratory therapist that's going to pop in,
Wow.
any of that, and then providers who put in orders, that affects nursing, of course. And if it's medication, then we have to get pharmacy involved. And it's that whole gamut is, looking at every single role, even though I'm aligned with providers now.
Wow.
And collaborating with all the other informatics, for the Hershey Nursing, for St. Joe's, all the upcoming facilities that we're
Wow.
at our health system. So, so even though I'm aligned again with providers, we end up working with everyone, because we need to understand all those different roles and the impact before we make a change. So,
This is a perfect segue into question 3, because it sounds like your job is stressful and you collaborate, but that's just my opinion based on your answer for number 2.